Hey guys, bid you shalom from Brevard, North Carolina, and we are staying at the Blue Ridge bus. I guess is what it's a blue bus, and we're in the Blue Ridge, so I guess that's where they put the name together. But this is an Airbnb that is pretty cool. We have had a great time here. Tomorrow we head back, but we've been up here since Thursday, Yom Hamishi.
Well, we got to the B&B yesterday.
It's got here yesterday. So it's a 3-day weekend, but only 2 days here. I found out at the last minute that I was going to be able to get an extra little bit off of work, and we snuck out of town early. But we're not able to secure an additional night here. We wanted it, but I think it was being used. So we ended up at a little golf course with the hotel, resort. Nice place in Etowah Valley. Very nice. But this morning we did our normal Torah study. Most Shabbats we will be, if Lily's not here, we'll be on the phone with Lily in Germany. Today didn't work out, but of course this is weekend where it's just for Kelly, and so we had a great time. We've had a great time this weekend. She talked a little bit about it earlier. We did some hiking this afternoon, but this morning was Torah study. And we've been working through, again, authority, headship, and family structure. While it's a book that I wrote, I'm not sure until fairly recently that you'd even been all the way through it. It was more about me teaching and my leadership. Initially, we started working through it at one point a couple years ago, and then she was like, "This is too much." And so we took a break from it, and that's okay. But Kelly's doing amazing, and we're doing fantastic. But today in our Torah study, there were a couple things that really kind of stood out to me, and I don't know if you had anything that stood out to you that you wanted to address before I put my stuff out there. I don't know.
We'll see where it goes.
So today's Torah portion was, I want to make sure I call this right, Shelach, which is Numbers chapters 13, 14, and 15. And you'll recall, particularly with Numbers 14, that is where Israel asks if they can send spies into the land. The father didn't tell them to do this. They did it of their own volition. They asked, and he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, go ahead. And so 12 men were selected, and the 12 men, one from each tribe, were selected for the purpose of going and taking an accounting, going and looking at the fruitfulness of the land, or the city's strong or weak, or the people, are there many or few? What's the fruitfulness of the land? All these sorts of things. And of course we know the story, but we need to, it's important to be reminded of the story. And I think there's some heavy prophetic implications as well that are connected to why 10 were bad and 2 were good. We used to sing that song, right? 12 men went to spy, okay, and then 10 were bad, 2 were good, right? Some saw giants big and tall, some saw grapes in clusters fall, some saw God was in it all, 10 were bad, 2 were good. No, okay, that's all the singing I'll do.
School song.
Yeah, the whole Vacation Bible School song. But the point is, when they came back, there were areas of concern that men did not handle correctly. At least 10 of the men, it looks like the 10 and 2, Joshua and Caleb were the 2 who were good, right? But the other 10 apparently, instead of going to the elders and saying, these are things we're concerned about, but there's also this great fruitfulness, y'all decide what we need to do. Instead, what they did was they started sowing complaints and grumbling among the people. And then it says that the men and the women, the men didn't do things correctly in their individual houses. It said the men and the women stood in the tent doors and wept. And their complaining, of course, once it reached the ears of the Most High, he was not happy with them at all, because here he is giving them the land. Here he is making promises to them saying, all you got to do is show up. I'm going to run them out. I'm going to defeat your enemies. I'm going to give it to you. I made that promise to your fathers. Instead, they complained about it. And their complaint was, oh, you're going to take us to Moses. Oh, you're going to take us into the land, and our children and our women are going to die by the sword. We're going to be bereft of everything, and we don't have all the good, and they're giants, and they consume the, whatever. But what they did was they complained. The Father had a plan. The Father had a purpose. The Father said, this is how I'm going to do it. And they said, no, I don't like your plan. Right? And the Father said, okay, every single one of you will die in the wilderness. You will not leave the wilderness. It's going to take 40 years, but you will not leave the wilderness until every single one of you over the age of 20 dies. And then he goes on and he says, but there are two, Joshua and Caleb, which from a prophetic standpoint, it's Judah. Caleb is from Judah. Joshua is from Ephraim. So it's a picture of the two sticks. It's prophecy for the future. But it's also something that we should be warned about. In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, Paul writes that these things are written upon you who have come the ends of the age for your instruction, right? Everything that happened in the wilderness is for our instruction. Ezekiel chapter 20, starting at around verse, I gotta look at this here. Starting at around verse 33, it tells us that the Father's going to take particularly the house of Israel, into the wilderness again to test them. He says, I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will separate the rebels from your midst. And they won't enter the land. They'll come into the wilderness, but they won't enter the land. One of the things that I think we see so much in Christendom, and we see so much in the Messianic and Hebraic, and we see it, Messianic Judaism, the whole nine yards. We see a lot of people that complain and say, I don't like the way God does things. I don't like what his word says on this topic or that topic. Of course, I'm wearing the t-shirt from Rob Kowalski. He gave it to me. But this t-shirt right here, I'm telling you, that spells out the number one thing that people complain about. They whine about it. I don't like that. That's not nice. That's not good.
Conversation starter, that's for sure. You wore that shirt when we were hiking in Bryson City.
Yes, when I was hiking with both ladies in Bryson City.
And it was a conversation starter for couples.
People would walk by and go, what? I'll tell you what, we'll get off on a tangent here because she'll vouch for me. I don't care. I really don't care. I have gotten, a long time ago, I got over caring what other people think about me. Just don't care. Is that right?
That's very true. Yes, sir.
So, anyway, we're not going to go down that trail because we could tell some stories then, right? But here's the thing. Are we complaining about what the Father has to say with regards to marriage? Do we complain about what the Father has to say with regards to headship and patriarchy? Do we complain about his ways? Oh, I don't like giving up Shabbat. It's so boring. I really want my shrimp. I really want my crab cakes.
They
Right?
consider it as legalistic and as a brain lock, bondage. People see it as bondage when the Torah is absolutely freedom.
Yeah. The Most High took all of Israel out of Egypt, took them out of bondage in Egypt, so he could put them in bondage at Mount Sinai. Right? That's moron territory, right? So, yeah, but the big thing that we have to understand is, what does Scripture say? And we can't complain about it. We can't sit here and say, well, I really don't like what the Father does here. Because you know what? It brings judgment. It brings judgment.
not so much complain about it, but it's like, oh, let's change the verse, what it says. Let's make it a kinder, gentler version.
The Bible as I would have written it.
That's what you see now.
Absolutely.
You know, it's my version, you know, Karen's version, or, you know, whatever's version.
The Karen translation. That's great. Oh,
But that's exactly what it is. It's, you know, how I feel.
yeah.
You know, this is the way that I think that it should be done.
Sure.
And me, when it's like, no, the scriptures are written by Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
Those are His words,
Mm-hmm.
with a capital H.
Yep.
They're not Karen's words.
Right.
They're His words.
Yeah, and He promises that when we do His things, or as I think it was Jim Staley years ago would say, Bible things in Bible ways, when we do His things in His ways, He promises blessing.
Absolutely.
He promises joy. He promises peace. He promises abundance. He promises a full breadbasket.
Absolutely.
He promises seed, right? He promises a blessing in all of those other areas. And so what we have to do is we have to come to a place that we don't negotiate with Him about what His word says, and instead we simply do what it says.
And keeping Torah brings peace.
Absolutely. Torah brings peace. Torah brings peace. I thought it was very interesting in this passage, though, because what happens is that those who complained were left in the wilderness, but those who didn't complain, those who saw the fruitfulness, those who saw the blessing, those who saw with expectation the Father's deliverance, entered the land. But I would shift gears here for just a little bit, and Kelly knows exactly where I'll go as soon as I start this, but how many people, I hear this all the time in my channel, and I'm telling you, it makes me a little bit crazy, and it makes me a little bit ill, but I know unequivocally that it makes the Most High upset. And that's people who want to talk bad about the land today. Now, I will tell you, the Father's got His job to clean things up. He'll take care of it. You don't have to worry about it. The Father knows exactly who belongs to Him and who doesn't. He's going to handle it. Not a problem. It's not my job. Not my job. And I'm glad, right? But how many people, you see the comments all the time. How many people have comments that have sideways swipes at the current inhabitants of the land? And in many cases, they don't have a good grip on or good understanding of who Israel is, or where the two houses were scattered to, or what the Father's promise is for the regathering of both houses from the ends of the earth, not all from one continent or one region. The two recent live streams that I've done with Brother Jan and Brother Jeremy and Brother Mike, along with some different guests in the chats, I'm telling you, the research, the archaeological research, the genetic research, the sociological research, the anthropologic research, all of it ultimately adds up to the fact that Israel was scattered, and the biblical record is correct. And they will return from every nation. And it has zero to do with skin color. Zero. That's in this last video that we went through, and there were people that wanted to come into the comments after that and say, "Oh no, you're dodging the elephant in the room." I'm going, huh? No, the elephant in the room is people who want to be dumb instead of simply saying, you know what? Scripture, Acts chapter 2, names places from Europe as well as places from Asia and from Africa as being there at Pentecost. And that's with, the scattering. The Jews hadn't been scattered yet. Now, there were many living abroad, there's no question. The house of Israel had been scattered. And, just if we want to get on the rant for just a minute, one of the statements that I made this morning as we were talking about some of this is the fact that there are a lot of people who want to talk bad about the house of Judah, and yet their own ancestors, or they'll claim stake there. Scripture says the house of Judah was tasked with taking care of the Torah. Did your ancestors take care of the Torah? Did they carry the Torah all the way through the ages? Can you go back and point to a record of your ancestors carrying the Torah? Most people cannot. Most cannot. That was the job of the Jews. According to Romans chapter 2, Paul, the oracles that were entrusted to them for the purpose of carrying them through history. I cover a lot of this in my book, 10 Parts in the King, because it looks at the two houses, the 10 and the 2. The 10 parts in the king, but you've got the 2 parts in the king, right? Most of us who are returning are not from the house of Judah. The vast majority who are returning are not from the house of Judah. Just not. It doesn't fit the prophecies. Okay? Cherry pick 1 or 2 out of Deuteronomy and try to play the game with that, but you'll get blown up. Okay? The prophecies state, from the ends of the earth, every tribe, tongue, and nation will be part of the return, right? Mm-hmm. The seed of Abraham was effectively scattered, the seed of Jacob was effectively scattered to the ends of the earth. And so, going back to today's Torah portion, when Caleb and Joshua came back, they didn't have a bad report of the land. They did not have a bad report trying to tell the Most High how to handle his business. Think about that. Because there are a whole lot of people out there that have bad things to say about the land all the time. And they think that their job is to clean up what the Most High has, what he's doing. They think their job is to go judge the Most High.
9 times out of 10, they've never even been to the land.
Say that louder.
And 9 times out of 10, they've never even been to the land.
One more time.
And 9 times out of 10, they've never been to the land.
Yeah. They speak on hearsay. Zero experience, almost zero experience in the land, and virtually zero experience with those who would call themselves Jews.
And when somebody tells you, ask you a question, oh, what are you doing for Sukkot? And you tell them, well, I think we're going to Israel for Sukkot. And they turn around and look at you and go, why would you do that? That's when you take 2 steps backwards, you do an about face, and you run. Not walk, run.
Yeah. Now, not everybody can go to the land. We've been blessed to go multiple times.
That's understandable.
However, it should be everybody's goal to get to the land once, soon as possible.
Or send a representative.
Send a representative. Have your fellowship represented in the land at the feasts. Yeah, as often as you can. But don't do what the 10 did when they came back with a bad report. Plenty of people have bad reports without even going, but I do know people that have gone to the land and they come back and they have bad reports. The Most High doesn't take kindly to that either. Think you're being smart, and we know people that you could see the hand come off of them, the blessing removed, and you could see the trouble begin in their lives when they started speaking against the Most High and speaking against the land. Yeah. So, couple things from our Torah portion today, just to kind of wrap it up and put it all together. Number one, as men, Don't tolerate complaining, grumbling. Don't tolerate questioning the Most High or questioning His Word. His Word is His Word. Don't tolerate it. If you can speak correction, speak correction. If not, turn around and walk away. Number 2, big lesson out of this is don't speak poorly of the Most High and or His plan in the land. Just leave it alone. You know, sometimes the best thing to do is to say nothing. And if that's what you've got to do, say nothing. That's okay. That's acceptable. Okay? But don't speak disparagingly of the land or of the Most High or of the people that are there or any of that stuff. That is asking for trouble. That is putting a great big bullseye right here on your chest. And it won't be, you know, other people shooting at you. It's going to be the Most High. Because it's not your job to judge the land. It's not your job to go try to clean up the people. Best thing to do is to get yourself fixed. Get the people around you fixed. And then just the bonus thing that I mentioned in the middle of this is that most of us, house of Israel, we're not the house of Judah. Most of us are not the house of Judah. And in fact, if you go back and understand prophecy, who's the blessing coming back with? Who's the multitude coming back with? Who's the numbers coming back with? See, if you can look at your family and your family's had Yeshua for generations, but you haven't had the Torah until, you know, the last 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, you ain't Judah. You're not Judah. The probability is slim, extremely slim at that point. Because of the way that the prophecies all work out, you're coming back with the house of Israel, somewhere within the house of Israel. Yeah. So, everybody wants to run around with the whole Judah thing on. The vast majority, nope. You're kidding yourself. Tough word there. Some people aren't going to like that one, are they?
No, sir.
I'm not here to get subscribers. I really don't care. Okay, I'm just going to speak the truth, and I'm not here to tickle anybody's ears. I really don't care. I've got enough problems, you know, enough headaches. I don't need any more. I just tell you like it is.
Well, that's why Yeshua was persecuted, because of him telling the truth. He spoke the Father's words, and nobody liked him.
Well, and
it's not about people liking you.
Yeah,
it's not about that.
I'm not looking for friends. I don't need any.
It's about His word, His truth.
Right. I mean. So anyway, we'll cut it off there because I can keep rambling. I can always ramble.
Rambling Rambo.
Yep, love it. So, all right, guys, we love you. For King and Kingdom, we bid you shalom.